Okay, we've begun streaming. You're all set.
Okay, well, welcome to the Thursday, September 21st, 2021 virtual meeting of the Town of West Hartford Commission on Veterans Affairs. And I'd like to ask for a motion to call this meeting to order. Where I'm
So moved.
Okay. Thank you.
You can just do that, Madam Chair.
What's that?
You can just do that. You have that.
I got it. Okay. Oh, I can't see. You know, I'm Robert's rules have been beaten to my head, right? Okay, I'm calling the meeting to order. And we'll do a roll call. Mr. Secretary, will you start the roll call?
Dave Paulk,
Here.
John Johnson,
Here.
Jeremy Donnelly,
Here.
Garrett Sheehan is not present. I did receive an email, which I'm Adam Rader, I'm here. I did receive an email from Mr. Malloy that he will be needing to step down from the commission. So that's effective immediately. So we thank Randy for his service. And I've forwarded that to our town clerk.
Thank you. And so I'd like to move to approve the meeting, the minutes from the special meeting on July 8th, 2021. Approved. Can I do that, Adam? Just approve meetings minutes.
I second.
Thank you. So we had that meeting in July at the Elmwood, was it the Elmwood Community Center? And I had a phone call at work, just a surreptitious phone call from a man who is a coordinator in Eastern Connecticut, and he helps veterans' families get their burial benefits in state cemeteries. And he tells me that the stone setters, the gravestone setters, are quitting because they're not being reimbursed at anything close to market rate. That I don't was like they were getting like $75 or $200, something very, very small. And that wasn't even cost, you know, a lot of them were happy to do it at cost, although they shouldn't. But this was beyond, they were coming out of pocket a significant amount every time. And so he was struggling to find professional stone setters to do this work. Without a professional stone setter to do this work, the gravestones topple over, they're not set right, disaster follows over time. So I reached out to some people I know just to find out when was what is the average rate per gravestone setting in the state in private cemeteries. And then also, when was the last time that the gravestone setters rate was increased? And also, how many are we doing a year in the state? So I reached out to the General Assembly's nonpartisan Office of Legislative Research for that information, and they're working on that. I expect to have it probably within the next week or so. So we talked in the last meeting, we talked about, you know, veterans, of course, are unfortunately dying every year, but that this could be a really great piece of legislation for the 2022 legislative session, depending on what the fiscal note might be. But this could have broad bipartisan support, and you know, continue to honor veterans and the people that support them. So, wanted to get your feedback on that. Or if there's anything that I've forgotten. from that conversation. Please, John or Adam, please chime in.
No, I think that pretty much summed it up. I mean, it was an opportunity for us to, as I recall, it was brought to us as an opportunity for us to do something to get the wheels moving on potential legislation that would have bipartisan support, that would potentially not only benefit the families of veterans in West Hartford, but across Connecticut. And, you know, we do have contacts at the legislature who might be able to help move this along. And that's what I remember from the conversation. But I think for Jeremy and Dave, it's good for you to hear about what it was that you brought to us.
Jeremy Donnelly, has this been something that has been discussed with other veteran affairs committees around the state, like to gather others to kind of, you know, push their respective legislators? We at the beginning stages, I suppose. We don't have all the data, right?
We're at the beginning stages, and I'm waiting for the information back from the Office of Legislative Research. I did speak to the clerk of the Veteran Affairs Committee at the General Assembly, and their opinion, you know, of course, just in early stages, is that this has the potential to be a very successful piece of legislation across the state. And it's, you know, it's an issue that I've organized several veteran burials over the years. And I never thought, I just never thought about what do the stone setters get paid to do this work? And I think that's a piece that when the state does their budget, there's probably only a handful of people that do this. And they don't have, you know, of course they don't have a very strong lobby. So I just think it's something that nobody's ever thought about or talked about. And it was a coincidence that I happened to make a phone call to this person in Eastern Connecticut about a completely different issue. And I mentioned to him that I was a veteran, and he said, well, I have a story to tell you. So this was just a complete, you know, off the cuff, fortuitous accident that I was able to gather this information. And then the clerk of the Veteran Affairs Committee sits in my dining room, you know, 3 days a week. So I was like, well, I might as well take advantage of this moment right now. But I just thought, and I went over the budget for the last several years, and I haven't seen a line item about this at all. I mean, I suspect that their reimbursement rate probably hasn't gone up for 10 or 20 years. But except, of course, their expenses and the demand has.
Hey, this is Adam. Is it just the stone setter's time, or are there materials as well? It's like their per hour cost.
I think it's their time and the use of their equipment. Because they have to get their equipment in to dig in a special way, and you have to be very skilled with the equipment so that you don't knock over other stones. And then to set the stone and then to move the earth back in. And I have to imagine that there are anchors of some sort that have to be, you know, put in place. So, I mean, it's a very skilled labor. And, you know, and I was like, wow, thank you for sharing that with us. You know, that was, so, and there are people who, the gentleman told me, there are people who get up, you know, in moments of their grief, people have to pay, if they have to pay out of pocket for this, they'll say, oh, I'll do it myself. You know, and they don't understand that this is a very, you know, very skilled labor. And these cemeteries, you know, they're not going to allow just, you know, a landscape company to come in and do this work. Did anybody else have any thoughts, questions, concerns, feedback?
Yeah, it's Dave Paulk. So thanks for bringing this to our attention. I think it's a good and worthwhile cause and something that not only the West Hartford Veterans Affairs Commission could get behind, but the commissions from other towns as well. It's a great use of our capability and what we've got. And tell us how we can help or if you need help just getting details as well. Give me an assignment. I'll make some calls. We'll find out what's going on.
I was hoping that OLR will have gotten back before, sooner, but they're very busy. I think it's important to see what the fiscal note could be. We're $20 million. It'll never happen, and I don't think it'll be anything close to that. I think, 30,000, 50,000. You just like I don't, and I'll be honest, I don't even think it'll be that much. I don't know, but I wonder also, when I made the request, I didn't ask to see what the surrounding states do. And that might be something. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that's a relevant piece of information?
Jeremy Donnelly, it might actually work against us. Who knows what other states do if we already engage in this practice. The issue is just cost. And this might be a good time to bring it because everyone's claiming there's going to be a budget surplus. So if the ticket isn't, $30,000 sounds like a drop in the bucket. So I think that's really just the issue. It's financial. So let's just do it, right?
Yeah.
So
Right. Okay. So as soon as I get that information, I'll share it with the commission, and we can go from there. Okay. Anybody have any questions or anything they would add before we move on to the next item?
Okay, Dave Paulk. So when you get that information and you say you can share it, is that something we can do by email? Do we have to wait till our next public meeting? How does it work?
I believe that I'm allowed to send that information to you via email, so long as we discuss it at the next meeting publicly.
Right. So no debate by email. We need to do all discussions in public, but you can disseminate information. Great.
Yes. Okay. So we'll move on to agenda item number 5. We had started at our last meeting to talk about opportunities for outreach, and there was just a handful of us, so we thought it would be better to open this up to the wider group to get your feedback and thoughts, because you each have your own unique and deep connections in the town, and wanted to get your thoughts on ways we can reach out to people, let them know we're here, see if they're interested in becoming members. We have vacancies, and if they're having any issues that the commission could assist with.
All right, Dave Paulk again. I'm a chatterbox tonight. I strongly feel, and I think I've mentioned it before, that we should have representatives from the American Legion as well as the Veterans of Foreign Wars. They should have members on this commission to specifically report back and to be a go-between between the two groups. That would bring us vital information and allow us to communicate with them in a more effective manner. I'm also curious about the status of our town's VFW. I know the sign is down. The building, when I drive by, I'm not sure what's happening with that. I would be happy to reach out to them unless someone's already done that. I don't want to step on any toes or something that somebody else has going. But, if we can open some discussions, let's do that, please.
Okay. Does anybody have any objections to Dave taking charge with that?
Objection.
It's all you.
Okay.
Not at all.
So I'll reach out to both the Veterans of Foreign Wars and the American Legion. I'm a member, but I'm not as active as I should be of the American Legion. And we'll see. Yeah, if they can have somebody who'd like to learn about the commission here and join us, that would be a great way. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. We
Hey,
had.
I'm sorry, it's Adam. I like Dave's suggestion that, I mean, one of the very first things I noticed about the commission when I joined was that there really seemed to be a disconnect, not only between the commission and the American Legion and the VFW, but also a disconnect between the Legion and the VFW. You have these pockets, these groups, and there's very much a silo between the different veterans groups. And I really had hoped that we would find a way to facilitate more communication and a more of a relationship between those groups, which I understand is easier said than done. But I would love for us to put out a direct call to both those groups and ask them to, because we now have, as of today, we have 3 vacancies. I would love for us to put out a call to both those groups and ask if they have anyone who'd be interested in joining.
Hey, maybe what I could do then, I could reach out, get the appropriate contact information, and then relay that to Kate. I think official invitation from the chair would be the best way to go. They could include that in their newsletters or email blast websites, whatever it might be of their choosing.
I'll put that together.
Thank you.
Hello, this is the West Hartford Veterans Affairs Commission. Please join us. How do you feel about putting a request on our Facebook page as well? Or just saying, hey, we have open spots. Come hang out with us. That's another, element of outreach. Maybe find
I'd
some
be fine
people.
with that.
Okay. Find some people that we don't know that are hanging out there. Or
Right.
maybe they're new to town in the last year and a half.
And then maybe weha.com as well. They have the Ronnie,
Ask-
excuse me, has
yeah.
the most communication with the town.
Okay. Ask Ronnie on Facebook. Okay. I'll talk to Adam about creating a post and putting it up. And if you see it, we'll email it to you. And if you use social media yourself, if you don't mind sharing it on your pages. Okay. Let's see. Move on to, unless anybody has any questions about outreach or points. Okay, we'll move on to number 6. Is there any other business that anybody would, Adam, or anybody have for this meeting to discuss?
Adam, more of a question than other business. So you may have seen several weeks ago, maybe more than that, the town honored some Korean War veterans, and we knew that this was coming, and we were asked if we knew anyone in town who, to the extent we were asked if we knew any Korean War veterans who the town may have overlooked because they wanted to honor them with a special ceremony at town hall. Beyond that, we really weren't involved at all, and I was disappointed that no one from our commission was present or invited. Did anything come of that? Was there any communication with the town?
I reached out to somebody in the town and left a couple messages. Unfortunately, I didn't hear back from them. So I think at this point, I'm going to reach out to somebody else in town and see if I can, if they have any information they could share with us or feedback.
Yeah, I just, I think that for this group, if the town still, wants to have a Veterans Affairs Commission and is going to be involved in organizing events like that, we do have certain limitations. We can't necessarily single-handedly organize the parade, but we can. I'd like to think that we can offer some assistance in events like that. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
that's all.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Dave Paulk. I'd like to follow up and second what you said, Adam. I strongly agree. I think back to my days on the Board of Education, it was a common courtesy rule that we had. Of course, I was an elected post, but if I'll just give an example. If a town official or a state official was coming to a school, we were notified, and one of the members of the Board of Ed would be there. It was only proper. It was only right. That we were there to represent and to welcome that individual. And so when I saw that officials had come to the town of West Hartford, and at least I wasn't aware, and it sounds like no one else was aware either, I was a little disappointed in that. And again, understanding we're not elected, but the time that we do put in, we'd like to make good use of that. And I think this is something that we should follow up on.
Thank you. I will definitely follow up on that this week. Let's see. Anybody? Adam, do you have any other parts of business? Jeremy or Ron?
I don't.
No. Okay.
No, it's
Hey,
John.
Oh, go ahead, John.
No, I was just gonna say that's a great point, Adam. I wonder if there's any events coming up. Our next meeting won't be till December, right? For Veterans Day, November. Does I forget what the town they do a wreath laying ceremony, right? For Veterans Day. I don't know if that still happens. Or was
Yes, I believe. Well, yeah, there's a wreath ceremony. Do they do flags at Fairview for Veterans Day as well? If they do, it would be organized by VFW. We've assisted in the past. We've helped, but I can if you like, Kate, I can ask if anything is planned for Veterans Day.
That's a great idea. Last year we didn't do anything because of the pandemic, if I remember correctly. I don't remember 19, to be honest with you. It's all gone at this point. Yeah, it's yeah. Life started March 2020. After that, I don't know. Before that, I don't know. So
it's
yeah,
like life before internet. You just don't remember what it was like.
I really don't. I try to explain it to my son, and he looks at me like, "What?" I was like, "We would have to pull over on the side of the road to make phone calls in a box, like super." He's like Superman. I'm like Superman.
So as I recall, the town has a ceremony at the in the center at 11 o'clock. And I believe that's followed by something, but I may be confusing it with Memorial Day, forgive me. But I do also know that the schools invite veterans in. Well, I usually attend a ceremony at Duffy. Sometimes I was also able to go to Wolcott, and it's just among all the schools, they have something, in the elementaries especially, welcome the veterans to come in, as long as it's known ahead of time. You can't just walk into a school. They usually honor them. And then Conard, I believe, and maybe Hall, they do a big breakfast, which is always neat for them, or it was a lunch. That's one that I could never attend. I got to watch that. But again, with COVID, I'm not sure if something like that is going on this year either.
Right. Yeah, because I know in the past, before I was a member of the commission, I had friends that were teachers in schools outside of West Hartford that I would go and they would speak to whole auditoriums of children. It was a little unnerving. Those kids are tough audience. So, okay. when I speak with somebody in the town later this week, I'll see what I can, if there's anything planned for Veterans Day this year. And if so, you know, how we could be of service to them, perhaps. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Well, John, did you have something? Did you?
No, that was it. Thanks, Kate.
Sure, sure.
And Paul, thanks for sharing that.
Jeremy, do you have anything before we wrap up?
Nothing further. No.
No. Okay. Excellent. Well, gonna call for, I think we've touched all of our points of business, and a couple of us have some assignments for the next couple of weeks. And as soon as I hear back from OLR, I will let you know. You guys will be my first, like Kermit on the typewriter. So, and if that's all we have, then make a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, all of you, everybody. Really, really appreciate all your engagement and work on this. And thank you to David Petrella from WHIC for organizing and hosting this for us.
Yes, thank you, David.
Absolutely, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.